When I kind of conceived of the book, The Obituary Writer, and I had these two characters, Vivien and Claire, living in different times, I decided that their stories would alternate in chapters, and I actually kind of thought of them as like couplets at the end of a sonnet. And the sonnet, the thing we don't see, is their love stories, because ultimately it is about love and loss, and their voices were kind of the couplets at the end of the sonnets. So I needed something to direct the couplets. And I was in my fabulous library in Providence, Rhode Island, the Athenaeum, and it just has every old book ever. You know, it just smells like old books. I love going in there, just breathing. And there I saw the original Emily Post Etiquette book. And I just picked it down kind of because I was in there kind of browsing, and I thought, how funny. And I'm flipping through it, and some of the things will make you laugh. But then I got to the section on grief, and that is a topic that kind of consumes me, and I write about it frequently, if not always. And I sat down at one of these big, beautiful tables they have there, and I read that section. And it just, although some of it was very outdated, it just spoke to me, because we no longer have a ritual for grief. I remember a mother telling me when I was touring with my book Comfort, A Journey Through Grief, my memoir, a woman came up to me in the supermarket, and she told me she had just read Comfort, and she had had a stillborn baby. And she said she remembers being in that same supermarket and people seeing her no longer pregnant and coming up to her and saying, "What did you have, a boy or a girl?" Because they didn't know what had happened. And she said, that's when I realized that mourners used to wear black, because it was telling the world, treat me tenderly, I am sad. And when I was reading this section on grief in Emily Post, so many of the things she was writing about, I thought if that still existed, how much more caring we would be toward grievers. You know, there's something about ritual that's been lost, but I think can still provide so much comfort. And it seemed to me the perfect beginning for those couplets I described. If I could pick something about what a friend should do, and then I could have a section about friends, they, to me, connected it, you know. One of the things that made me very frustrated, and I will even say at times very angry, after I lost my daughter Grace in 2002, she was only 5 years old, and she died suddenly, and people would give me these platitudes, you know, she's in a better place. God only gives you what you can bear, and they really kind of made me go crazy, because they just seemed so wrong and certainly not comforting. But one of the things I heard the most was time heals. And in particular, like once you've gone through each season, you're better, you're done. And of course, even before I lost Grace, that is preposterous. But it's a lie we tell ourselves, or something we say when we don't know what else to tell someone who's really lost someone they love. Unfortunately, in a way, you never heal. You know, holes get punched in our hearts all the time. You know, I happen to lose my daughter, but I've lost a sibling, I lost my dad, and those holes are all there. What happens is time moves on, and we kind of get swept up with it. And one day you find that you can laugh again. And one day you find that, like I did not long ago, 10 years had passed. 10 years. Sometimes it seems like 10 minutes, but it's been 10 years, and then you say, here I am. And you're not unhappy, and you've learned that the heart, I think, can hold grief and joy in equal measure. Well, you know, I've been a writer. My first book came out 25 years ago. I was very young when it came out. Came out 25 years ago. And actually that book I wrote after my brother died. So to me, my themes have not changed, really. That was me struggling with how a family copes with, again, a sudden loss. I tried after that book to explore different themes, but it seemed like I always came back to that. Because maybe it's my big question, maybe it's all of our big questions, I don't know. But it seems to me it's the thing I struggle with the most. When Grace died, I didn't write for over 2 years. I thought maybe I would never write again, because I felt like, although I had written about grief and I had explored loss, this one seemed to really have no words that I could attach to it. So when I was sitting there wishing I could read again, wishing I could write again, one of the things I thought is, if I ever find my language, my voice again. I'm going to articulate this. Because I knew there were so many people out there who are not writers, but who are feeling this, and they need to be validated. I wanted to write books that I wanted to read during that time, but they weren't there. And so I guess that's mostly how it's changed.